Hello, this is Camille Fairborn from Utah State University, and I'd like to welcome you to today's CAUSE Teaching and Learning webinar. We're pleased to have as our presenter today Dr. Dennis Pearl, the director of CAUSE. For today's webinar, he will be giving us a virtual tour of special collections and features of the recently redesigned CAUSEweb.org website. The way the webinars work is that all listeners are muted during the webinar. You can ask questions at any time by typing them into the questions box, and we'll be sure to ask those questions either as we go or towards the end and give Dennis a chance to respond. You can also use the chat box if you are having any technical questions or problems. At this point, I'll turn things over to Dr. Pearl. Dennis, go ahead.
Great, thanks a lot, and welcome everybody to the webinar. I'm going to give a little tour of CAUSEweb. Of course, I want to say first that CAUSEweb is the website of the Consortium for Advancement of Undergraduate Statistics Education. So obviously our mission is to advance undergraduate statistics education. And how do we do that? Well, basically we provide resources and professional development opportunities to statistics instructors and researchers. Those professional development opportunities include webinars like this one and workshops and virtual and face-to-face conferences, as well as a resource library that provides a variety of things, and we'll be talking about that in a minute. We also work with funded projects and providing them with a dissemination venue so that we provide the hosting for workshops that they do as part of their grants and webinars as well. And for those projects that have some kind of a issue with sustainable infrastructure that we can supply, for example, providing a permanent website for the project after their funding runs out, we do that as well. So we hope that if you have a project that you're interested in and want to work with us on, that you will contact and we can work with you to sustain and disseminate your work. Well, let's go now to the CAUSEweb website and see what's doing there. The website is at www.causeweb.org. It is not only the website for the organization, we also have there the resource libraries as well as the hosting of those special projects with affiliated groups that I was just mentioning. Here across our top line menus, of course, we have our different conferences, the ECOTS virtual conferences that are held every other year on even-numbered years. This past year, in 2016, ECOTS was in May, and the entire program there, 40 hours of program, are all online, and you can click and listen to recordings and see the archived versions of everything that went on in the conference. As well, USCOTS, of course, is coming up this next May. We're real excited about that. May 18th to 20th, Thursday to Saturday, 2017. Don't make your travel plans right yet for the May 18th date, because we also always have an exciting workshop program prior to the conference, so we want everybody to know about that. Our professional development efforts, of course, we have the webinars and workshops. All of the webinars, like this one, are recorded, and you can go to any of the webinars and listen to a recording of them. Along with the professional development and the research side, we have a variety of national reports and guidelines for research and programs and introductions to the literature, as well as a literature database. The database is indexed in many ways. You can see here that we have over 3,000 articles indexed, and if I wanted, for example, to find articles by Joan Garfield in 2004, I know then I would see here, well, Joan's a pretty prolific author. She wrote like 5 or 6 articles all in that one year that we have here. And you see the abstracts, and when it's an online article, a way to go directly to that article. Returning to the main site again, looking at the resources collections, We have the affiliated projects, Chance News, the simulation-based inference group. We have a stat map. We'll talk about that in a second. And we'll go into the resources library in a minute. Right now I want to log in. Logging in allows you a variety of extra functionality on the site, as well as, most importantly, the ability to submit resources and share your work with others, and leave comments and participate in the CAUSEweb community. So there's a CAPTCHA going along with it, like there is a lot of times. I hope I get this right. Select all the squares with street signs. I'm always confused whether they want the pole or not, you know, on the street signs ones, but let me see if I get this right. Nope, I did not. So now I've got to go a few more. And I think now I got my CAPTCHA right. There we go. When I log in, I see my when I log in, without clicking other buttons, I see my own page. I can see some of the resources that I have given a ranking to recently, along with the rankings there. I can see other people's rankings as well. And I get a view of the stat map, which is a map of statistics educators, people that have logins on CAUSEweb. When you first log in for the first time, it'll ask you if you want to participate in the map. Let's take a look at the broader map. Here I'm just looking at the people right in my immediate area. Here at Penn State, right at my building, there's my own entry. You can enter pretty much a variety of things there, and provide a website that you want. If you want to, I'll pan out here a little bit on the map. Now here to the whole Northeast, to the whole country, and you can see we got a little less than 100 people total. And of course, it would be really nice if everyone listening to this webinar could add themselves to the stat map and get involved in the community of statistics educators that are near them. All right, so we're logged in, ready to go back to the front of the website and see what else is doing there. We have our news items. Of course, we know that USCOTS is coming up this upcoming May. We see the cartoon caption contest that CAUSE sponsors on a monthly basis. Each month a cartoon is posted, and we're looking for the best caption for that cartoon. We have prizes of a mug or a t-shirt or a free registration for ECOTS in 2018 for the winner. And here's the cartoon for this month. The entries are due the first of each month, so that would be just due a couple of days here on December 1st. And then on the second day of each month, the new cartoon for the next month is posted. And right around the middle of the month, we judge and have the winners declared, and we announce the following thing with an e-news blast. So you can see here, to enter this contest, you just add your own caption and what learning objective it applies to. So this month, something about testing is called for. Well, CAUSE sponsors a variety of contests along with the cartoon caption contest. We also have the USPROC, the Undergraduate Students Project Petition, so that is for class projects or mentored research projects. The due date on that is for fall semester, December 23rd, and for spring semester, June 30th. As part of ECOTS every other year, we run the amusing competition for people who want to submit jokes, cartoons, poetry, songs, videos, any kinds of fun items, and that competition submissions are due by March 17th. We also have the Lifetime Achievement Award, and those are due on May 15th, nominations for that. The homepage also includes a statistics education quote. Every time you refresh the screen, you'll get a new quote. If we look at read more here, one of the things we're proud of about our quote collection is that we have researched the attributions and provide pictures of the people that say it, as well as trying to find a good number of quotes from female authors, because oftentimes those don't show up in some of the books on quotes. So here's a quote by Stella Conlife, the no good statistician existed unless he or she has been so involved in practical experimentation that they appreciated and understood the problems of the experimenter, the process worker, the farmer, and the laboratory assistant. If we want more information about where that quote came from, we can go to the full resource page in the underlying digital library that houses all of our resource collections, and we can find exactly the attribution that quote came from her presidential address in November 1975 to the Royal Statistical Society. She was the first woman to hold that position, and further information about that. So fully attributed and quotes that hopefully you might want to use in your teaching. And then finally, as we scroll down, we see these hosted projects that we had talked about. The student research project competition, teaching statistics in the health sciences, the ASA section, we house their resource portal. They have a resource portal built around data sets, and every year they operate a innovation challenge seeking people to submit data sets and teaching materials built around the data sets. As you can see, they give an award of $250 for the best data set and $250 for the best contributed teaching materials, and those things are awarded at JSM each year. As well, the student simulated based inference project, an NSF project that is has Nathan Tintle as the PI. Their blog is hosted here on CAUSEweb if you want to find out ways that you can get involved in the simulation-based inference community nationwide, as well as, more importantly, probably for those that just want to see, well, if I want to use it in my class, how do I do that? And this blog does a great job of going through some of those detailed logistics. The Chance Wiki, of course, has existed for a long time. That started back in 1992 at Dartmouth, and it's been hosted on CAUSEweb since 2005. Well, let's now look at some of the searching capabilities here. You can see that there's three different things to search. We have CAUSEweb, the resources library, and the literature index. I showed you the literature index a while ago. The CAUSEweb search is just to search for things that aren't resources on CAUSEweb, but other items on our website. For example, if I wanted to look for the rules for the Lifetime Achievement Award, I would type that, and you can see it tries to fill in, of course, your typing as you go along, like Google and other things. And here we can see items on the site about Lifetime Achievement Award. We're interested in the rules, so I would look at this 2015. And here we have the rules to the 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award. Again, nominations need to arrive by February 15th for that. So let's go now to the main resources library and seek, say, resources about regression. Well, here you see that there are 452 such resources, so that's a little bit much. So we might want to do a more refined search. The refined search allows you to search by a variety of fields, basically any field in the area. And if you want to have more than just two things, you can add fields and go by titles and and add another field if you want to talk about the contributor and so forth. In your search, the syntax for the search is displayed toward the bottom of the search thing. The usual put things in quotes, and that means it must be there. Some other ones like add a minus sign in front and means that that will not be in the search. So let's say I want to do a search on regression, but I'm interested only in regression applets, and I do not want to have things that deal with correlation, but only with regression. I can do that search. And now I've reduced it to 37 items that are regression applet related items. One thing about the searches is that if you've developed a search, you can save that search and give the search a name. I guess I might call this regression applets. Save the search. By the way, it allows you to decide how often you want to be emailed about that, if you want to track when there's new items or not. I'm happy to hear no more than monthly on that one, and so there we go. I've also have a search on Simpson's paradox as one that I set up earlier in my account, and as you can see, since I'm logged in, I can go straight to those searches if I want. Well, let's go back to the resources library now, and let's look for a person, say Alan Rossman, and find some items that Alan has been involved with, and I find 17 items in our resource collection. You notice that some of the resources, the titles have a double star in front of it, or a single star sometimes. Those stars indicate that there's been a complete review of that item, so that if you went to the full bibliographic reference on the item, you would find a complete review by the editorial staff. Ginger Rawell is our current editor of the resource collection, and her and the editorial board provide reviews that talk about content quality, ease of use, and potential effectiveness in the item at hand, and they will evaluate the pros and cons of each thing and give the item an overall rating. Here you've seen that you can also add comments at this point. I've already added a comment about this. I wanted to say how I used that item in my teaching, but also pointing out to people that since this review was done, that the items have now been translated, many of them from Java applets, which sometimes didn't work in various browsers, to JavaScript applets. Every item in the resource library does have a link to the resource itself. Most of those, of course, are external links like this one to Alan and Beth's applet collection, but other links are to URLs that we have back within the CAUS collection itself. One of the things when you are searching, let me go back to, say, the regression search, oh, I'm in CAUSEweb, not in the library. There we go. When you're within the resources library, and here I searched on nothing, but notice that there's a recommendations thing. So I wasn't searching for anything. I was just going to the resource library, and I can click on recommendations, and the system will provide recommendations for things that I might like. In this case, what they're basing their information on is for things that you rated, as well as what other people liked that rated similar items as you did highly. And so in that sense, it's important that we get a lot of people rating different items and leaving comments and participating in the community so that it will work better. So here you can see that the system is giving me a lot of recommendations for cartoons, and when I click on why was that resource recommended for me, it tells me because I rated a whole bunch of other cartoons highly, and it knows that cartoons was one of my interests. So that's the recommendation. The fun collection itself, which is a one of our major collection that's completely unique to CAUSEweb. It's curated by Larry Lesser and myself. We have a variety of things in different modalities: cartoons, art gallery, jokes, magic tricks, poems, puzzles, quotes, songs, and videos. If I want, for example, to find a song about polls, and I'll allow 10 items per page here, and I find 4 songs dealing with polling. One of the things that we've done is we've worked with the commercial music program at University of Texas, El Paso to provide recordings of our songs where they're parodies. So here's a song that I wrote with Larry Lesser that's sung to the tune of Old Time Rock and Roll. I'll play about a minute or so of that. Just take those clippings off the shelf. I'm sitting reading by myself. Today's everything got the same song. I like an old time rhythm flow. Don't try to show me a winning team without evidence to back it up. You tell me it's not gonna run. I like an old time rhythm flow. Still an old time rhythm flow. Everybody touch the fire control. I'm reminiscing about the days of old, with that old time rhythm flow. Don't wanna get a wrong call. So it's a fun song. I think the important part here is that we do have pretty high quality recordings, and so you don't need any particular talent to use these in class. This particular song does a good job of talking about some of the issues in modern polling. So to wrap up, I just want to point out that what you can do is register and get your name on the stat mat, rate items in the collection on a 5-point scale. The rubric that I use for myself is I try to think of value for education on a 3-point scale and aesthetic and design qualities on a 2-point scale, and I just add those up. Make comments, if you will. Volunteer to review or curate a special collection. If you have an idea for something that we ought to have on CAUSEweb, then let us know. You can submit resources at the bottom of the page when you're looking in the resource library. There's a little submit resource here. And please provide us web feedback about the website by going to causeweb.org/feedback. I want to be sure to mention the hard work of the people that have created the website and working on it. The IT staff, Bob Carey and Kathy Smith. The resource library editor, Ginger Roloff, I mentioned earlier. Larry and I curate the fun collection. Vittorio Adona from McAllister is the USPROC chair, and if you have questions about that, go to him. Carol Bigelow from UMass does the teaching statistics in the health science portal. Nathan Tintle and Beth Chance work on the simulation-based inference blog, and Bill Peterson from Middlebury does the Chance News site. So that's all I have, and I'm happy to take questions.
Well, this has been really helpful for me, Dennis. I knew the CAUSEweb thing was there, but there were lots of new features that I hadn't seen yet. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead and type them in the questions box, and we'll get those passed along to Dennis. Maybe you just explained everything so well, Dennis, that everybody has no questions. That's what I always assume when students don't have questions in class.
One of the reasons I wanted to do this webinar was to have the recording available, so if people wanted sort of a quick start guide, it would be right there for us to display. So
Larry is saying that you might want to tell people about the Quickstart guide in the Fun collection. Is that a specific Quickstart?
Yeah, within the Fun collection, we have a Quickstart guide to that. It provides an intro into the literature on Fun, broken down by modality, some of the key articles in the area. It also provides some lesson guidance on how to use the Fun items in your class, with one example on how to use a song and one example on how to use a cartoon in your class. And so I think with that guidance, people can do that. Of course, we're really looking forward to people making comments and rating some of the items in the collection, so that we can see how the community uses our work and the work of others. I want to also mention, in terms of the cartoons, that John Landers, a cartoonist from London, is on commission with CAUSE and draws the cartoons for the cartoon caption contest, as well as a large majority of the cartoons in the collection.
Okay. Do you know how long it takes the webinars to get uploaded onto the site after we're done recording them?
The webinars are uploaded onto the site by Bob or Kathy, and that usually happens within the day of when they're done.
So yeah, pretty quickly after we finish, there's a link on the webinar site to the webinar.
And we usually get 5 or 6 times as many people listening to the webinars in the archive version than listening live. So the webinar recordings is one of our most valuable resources on CAUSEweb.
Well, and hopefully the people listening to the recording will also log in and start participating a little bit more seriously in the community. I know that I will.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. We'd like to thank everyone for coming. Oh, wait, we have one more. Larry again says, do you want to mention the Beyond the Formula videos and the Stats magazine collections?
Yeah, so we have a couple of resources that are in the works. We have videos from mini sessions of the Beyond the Formula conference. Those conferences were at Monroe Community College in New York and were run for many years. They were in the 90s, predecessors of USCOTS, and they've been generous to give us recordings of those. We are working on transferring those from the old videotape format to the digital format. We've gotten started on that project. We hope to have it finished fairly soon, but our staff are quite busy with other things. We're looking for a student interested in working on that kind of thing. If you're an undergrad out there that wants to get hired by CAUSE, we're looking for somebody.
And the magazine collections, where are those?
The magazine, yes, we have those done on CAUSEweb. Stats magazine ended its run about 5 years ago, and we picked up that collection, and that's within the collection here. Let's see if I get to it. I believe I'm...
So if we just search for the Stats magazine, we get all of the different articles. Okay.
Yeah, so some issues are online. There were some issues that were in a format we couldn't recognize. We're still trying to work with those, but the ones that were in standard formats we have posted.
That's great. Well, thank you, Dennis, for this really informative tour, and thank you all for attending. And again, encourage all of you to get more involved with the community. Also, keep your eyes peeled for an email announcement about future teaching and learning webinars and the other types of webinars we have here on CAUSE. I hope you all have a very nice day.
Thank you. Bye.